back a bunch of stuff. We said you can't access these certain things, and what we found was that was much more of an impediment. We find that they find their own balance, and what we've also found is, again, because they innovate, they actually increase productivity. So they crowdsource their own problem, solutions to problems internally off of Chatter, right? So we think that it's actually increased productivity, not taken away from it. Now, we have pockets of it. We have, where we've had to come in and say, "Hey, man, that's great, but 13,000 chatters in a month is, So we've had a little bit of that, but very rare, right? What we found is it's actually increasing productivity, and it finds its own balance.
I have a theory that the more restrictive you are with social media, the more likely it is that your employees' smartphones will end up in the toilet because they're all going to go to the bathroom and use their smartphones.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, Rich. We believe smartphones are the way to engage employees over social, so it's about making it easy and tacit for them so that they don't have to do a lot of work. They don't have to spend 6 hours a week or 2 hours a week. It has to be so easy that they get a little notification, they click on it, and can decide if they want to opt in and interact and be part of a conversation or share or amplify. It's got to be that tacit and simple that they can do it in line while they're standing at Starbucks. Any other questions from the audience? Yeah, we've got two over there.
Hi, this is Rachel Polish with JP Morgan Chase. You shared some lessons learned, at least Sharon did. I was wondering if anyone else would be willing to share a little bit more about what not to do when starting your program.
Yeah, I think one of the things I shared earlier was don't structure too much, right? We built this really elegant, super exciting structure and found it to be overcomplicated and not engaging. So I think a big part for us is, and back to the point, right? Social media, just by its pure nature, is designed around human connection and innovation, right? So I think the biggest thing for us was pulling down all those barriers, putting up some very wide walls, right? You put walls up, but very wide. And so as long as you stay between these very wide goalposts, you're going to be okay. And we found as we narrowed things down, it was restrictive, and it became counterproductive at that point, and the investment wasn't.
Interesting.
I'd also say make sure employees understand what they can share. Where we just seem very social, very open. So for us, we all thought it was a no-brainer, but maybe there are some things that we need to kind of keep behind the wall a little bit because we're always launching a new product or whatever. So I think it's just being really clear about what to share and how to share it. Also that tone about being authentic and making it personal. Not everybody understands that we need it this is about me doing it. It's not about I'm sharing it for the company. So it's a little bit of that help.
Agree. I was just going to say some really quickies. Don't give content without guidelines. Don't give tools without processes. And don't give training without mentorship. So those would be some of my examples.
That's great. Well, yeah, what we find in general is that without guardrails, employees kind of will fill the vacuum and go off and do things on their own. So it's always a good idea to provide some guidance to your employees. One of my favorite examples is from one of our customers, IBM, where they crowdsourced the creation of their social media policy. Instead of writing it from a corporate perspective and creating a 200-page manual that their employees would then have to attempt to read, which would never happen, they decided to get their employees to co-create their social media policy and guidelines, and they crowdsourced it. They did it through Wiki. It was a collaborative process with their employees, and therefore the policies were really internalized. Employees bought in because they had a hand in contributing and creating the policy itself. I think there was one more question back there, and then I think we have to wrap. Oh, are we out? Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. The selfie. This is the Ellen selfie. Anyone want to photobomb this? Thank you, guys. That was fantastic. Big hand for them, everybody. So thank you.